Hi everyone. Today's quick video is going to give you a refresher on the purpose of division. And before we get into that, I want to give you a little refresher of the four main parts of a division problem. First, we have the divisor, and the divisor tells us how many groups we have or the number we're dividing by. So this is the number that's typically found outside of the division house. We also have the dividend, which tells us how many things we are breaking apart. This is the number we're dividing or what we're splitting up. And this goes inside when we're doing the math. The quotient is the answer in a division problem, and that goes on top of the division house. And finally, the remainder is what we have if there's anything left over. So just like with multiplication, the main point of division is to be making equal groups. But with multiplication, we're building up to those equal groups, where with division, we're breaking a number apart and splitting something into equal groups. So I wanted to show you two quick ways that you might see division modeled. It's not very often that you see models of division, but I want you to be aware of what two different types look like in case you ever come across them as you're working. Okay, so the first kind of division problem you might see is one that's a very basic level of understanding with division, where you have a dividend represented by base 10 blocks, and you're splitting it into groups. So in this case, our dividend, the amount we're splitting apart is 48. And I can see that because I have 4 tens rods and 8 unit cubes representing the amount that I'm splitting apart. My divisor is 4. I can tell from the picture that what this tells me is that I'm splitting these 48 pieces into 4 equal groups. So you might have remembered doing this by saying, okay, I know division makes equal groups. So let me start with my largest values first and split them up. So I'm going to start by taking 1 tens rod and placing it in each of these 4 groups. I don't have any tens rods left over, so I don't have to do any breaking apart or borrowing. Now I can move on to the ones cubes, and you probably can recognize from these numbers that you're going to end up with 2 unit cubes in each group. But what that shows is that division is splitting something apart, in this case the 48, represented by the base 10 blocks, into equal groups. In this case, I had 4 equal groups. My quotient is going to be 12 because my quotient is representing how many items are in each group. Since I have 1 tens rod and 2 unit cubes in each group, I can show that the quotient to this example is 12. So sometimes our divisor tells us how many groups we're splitting something into. We can also have a divisor that shows us how many equal groups we have. So let's take a look at a question like this. This one is a little bit more complex, and this uses a grid. So this is 156 divided by 12. What that tells me is that my dividend, the 156 pieces, are represented in the center here by the hundreds flat, the 5 tens rods, and the 6 unit cubes. Together that models 156. And you can see I have kind of a division grid set up here. And this part along the side represents my divisor of 12. In this case, I know that I have 12 represented by 1 tens rod and 2 unit cubes in each of my groups. So in a model that looks like this, to find the quotient or the answer, you're going to show the model across the top. So what you'll do is you'll fill in the pieces that match the length. I can tell that I'll need 1 tens rod to span the length of the 100 flat. And then in order to span the length of the 3 tens rods, I'll need 3 unit cubes. What that tells me is my division quotient is going to be 13 because I see this split into a tens rod and 3 unit cubes, which tells me that my quotient would be equal to 13 or 13 columns here. Now, it's not often that you're going to see division modeled in this way, but I wanted to show you the two main models of division so that you're not caught off guard if you see them. Thanks for watching.